here on realagriculture.com for the beef market update with Ann Dunford. Welcome today, Ann.
Hi, Sean.
Okay, Ann, we're at Ag Expo in Lethbridge. We're at the Gateway Customer Night. We're talking about the beef markets. How does the fed cattle market feel right now?
Well, we've heard from a couple speakers tonight, and especially from a U.S. perspective, markets have seen a pretty good rally here in the last 2-3 weeks. They've got into the low 90s. A lot of that's been weather related. Of course, we've had huge weather systems all through cattle feeding country in the U.S. We haven't felt them here in southern Alberta. Nevertheless, the situation has meant higher prices in the U.S., and of course that's dragging Canadian prices up. If it weren't for the strength of the Canadian dollar, this local market would be significantly higher than it is this week, and I think we will hopefully get a break in this dollar and get some better pricing. But from a U.S. perspective, we're certainly looking at better prices here this spring. So
in the U.S., we've seen an uptick in prices, a lot about the weather. Obviously, weather isn't a long-term issue. It can't, as I said with Dwayne Lenz, it can't snow through July. But can we expect this momentum to continue?
Well, I think overall pricing is going to, right now it looks like better than 2009 and 2010, but you're not going to get away from the seasonals. So to make a rally here in March, April, which is normally when the market peaks each year, make a rally in here, then this market likely settles back down into the summertime. We're going to watch for next week's on-feed numbers coming out of the U.S. February placements probably up. We heard tonight March placements might be up. So guess what? If you go out 4 months from now, we've got summer inventories up. So even though we've got some tighter supplies now, and as we head into the first part of the second quarter, then they start to grow. So strength now, unfortunately, it probably still means some seasonality. Could we still trade summer lows above last year's summer lows? Absolutely.
So what would you recommend to feeders? You've mentioned before higher prices don't mean higher profitability. What is something that you could tell producers really to think about to not fall into that trap as we potentially could going in through this season?
Well, I think we've got feeder cattle moving higher. Good point, Sean. Secondly, that means we've got break-evens moving higher along with that. You've got to do your P's and Q's as futures market has moved higher. What are you doing about it? There have been opportunities, not with today's dollar, but over the last 2 weeks, yes, we were able to take opportunities when the dollar had a setback. So can you take some positions, whether it's a hedge, a CPIP insurance program, or looking at some basis contracts with packers here or in the U.S., we could start to put things together that on the day all these things to come together, be ready to pull the trigger. Opportunities are short, they just don't last long, they're not huge profits, but can you stay in business for a better chance down the road? That's the game plan, I believe.
It seems the market has really changed from a market where you place cattle in the yard and you sort of let it ride, and then when you're getting closer to marketing, 2 weeks before or a month before you started making some phone calls. This is more of a market nowadays where we need to be on top of it.
Get on top of it, and the other thing, don't let the emotions take you away. If the dollar starts to back off and we've got a game plan in place, don't veer from it, because the day the dollar starts moving down, then everybody starts, well, maybe it's got another penny to go, I'll wait and see, and then it turns around and runs the other direction for the next 2 weeks. So stick to your game plan, be firm. You don't do everything all at the same day at the same time, but have kind of a staggered in approach so that if the dollar keeps moving down, you can do some more inventory, but don't do nothing.
Okay, Ann, thank you very much for joining us today. If anybody wants more information from Ann, you can go to gatewaylivestockexchange.com. Thanks a lot, Ann.
Thanks, Sean.